Hello everyone, you are on the Planet Earth channel, and today we will talk about the baobab. The baobab is a mighty tree that immediately evokes associations with the sultry African savanna. This is true. Baobabs grow mainly in tropical African territories. This tree is truly unique, and it has many unexpected uses. What is this wonderful plant that is an African symbol? Let's figure it out. Baobab belongs to the genus Adansonia of the family Malvaceae. Many people have the impression that baobabs grow exclusively in Africa. This is partly true, but in addition to the actual African baobab, the genus Adansonia includes 7 other species of trees, 6 of which, including the famous for its unique appearance Adansonia grandidie, are common only on the island of Madagascar, and the 8th is not a baobab, of course, but a bob grows in Australia. When we talk about the ancient green giants, first of all, we remember the baobabs. The famous traveler and naturalist Alexander Humboldt called these representatives of the genus Adansonia the oldest living monuments of the planet. Researchers say that in Senegal, there are trees whose age has exceeded 5,000 years. However, it is quite difficult to prove this since baobabs do not have annual rings, which are usually used to reliably calculate the age of the plant. The most famous among the Adansonia, of course, is the African species. The palm tree was provided by a completely absurd appearance. The height of the green native of dry African savannas is relatively small, 12 to 20 meters, but the excessively inflated trunks reach 10 meters across, and their circumference is 30 to 40 meters. And in 1991, in the Guinness Book of Records, there was a mention of a baobab with a girth of 54.5 meters. The baobab is mostly found only in the arid savannas of tropical Africa, in an area covered with grassy vegetation, with occasional trees and shrubs, and then only those that have adapted to survive the dry season for a second year in the African savanna consists of 2 periods, and both are hot. One is hot and rainy, and the second is hot but dry. The baobab has acclimated to the local conditions in a rather unusual way. Moisture and nutrients, which it absorbs like a huge sponge, but the water in the tree is kept, not allowing it to evaporate, soft on the outside and strong on the inside of the bark, the thickness of which is 10 centimeters. Also, an important role in preserving moisture is played by the roots of the plant, which, spreading over the surface for more than a dozen meters, collect all the moisture available to them. An interesting fact is that during the dry period, when the African baobab begins to use up its water supply, the plant slightly decreases in size and does this before the rainy season begins, after which it begins to increase its volume again. It is during the dry period that the baobab sheds its leaves and begins to look like a tree that sticks its roots up. Some Africans are convinced this was due to the fact that the plant angered the gods when it did not want to live where he intended it. He did not like it in the valley of the Congo River. The baobab decided that it was extremely damp for him, nor on the slope of the Green Mountains. Without thinking twice, the gods took and turned the baobab upside down. So the poor fellow stands to this day, reminding the natives of his disobedience. But not everything is so bad as in the legend. It seems to me that the baobab feels much better in that area than other representatives of flora and fauna, and a baobab from October, well, downright handsome. Throwing off the leaves, the baobab begins to bloom. Round buds appear on the bare branches. At night they bloom and look like large, about 20 centimeters, flowers with 5 backward curved white petals and dark red spherical stamens. And who is pollinating the baobab? Bees, butterflies, flies, bumblebees. It attracts palm bats and bats with its fragrance for its pollination, and the flowers live on the baobab for just one night. And after a while the baobab fruits appear, oval or round in shape with a thick fluffy skin containing a delicious sourish pulp with black seeds. And so this pulp is very popular with baboons, which is why this plant was called the bread tree of monkeys by the Africans. But very few people know about this, so almost everyone on the planet calls baobab baobab. Scientists call Adansonia, and if you really want to call it the breadfruit tree of monkeys, you can't go wrong. It is a long-established fact that the baobab has a soft water-saturated wood and therefore is subject to various fungi that eat it from the inside, so the trunks of these trees are often either hollow or hollow. Elephants use the baobab's ability to store water. They break the bark of the baobab tree with their fangs, remove the wet fibers inside the tree with their trunks, and chew them to gain moisture. This creates large cavities in the trees, which can cause them to collapse. I never would have thought, but the high density of elephant populations in various national parks in Africa has led to and still poses a threat to the population of baobabs. Oh, these baobab elephants are terrorists. But you can understand them. You want to drink something, and there is no water, so the poor baobabs chew. Baobab, a plant that is tenacious and therefore holds from lack of water, are not a reason for death. Although this still contributes to its gradual destruction, the tree begins to slowly settle and in the end turns into a pile of fiber, although this process will take him several decades and even centuries. The bark of this plant is also amazing. If it is stripped off, it will not harm the tree, since it will grow back quite soon. An equally interesting fact is that if a baobab is cut down or knocked down by a herd of elephants, and even if they eat it and only one root remains, it will still try to take root and continue to grow, but not upside down, but lying down. But in addition to the villainous elephants, the baobab also provides shelter and food for many other animal species. Extremely unusual galago primates seek refuge there, hollows, and on the baobab, it is the whole cave's hotels in the trunk, and on the branches are used for the life of kingfishers, barn owls, rhinoceros birds, and a number of species of long-winged parrots and lovebirds. In addition to birds, the fruit of the tree is also eaten by antelopes and a number of small mammals. Baobab is a universal tree, and it is interesting that not only baboons and elephants and those who live on it have the benefit of this tree, but also people, mostly Africans, who live in them use almost all parts of the tree instead of warehouses and use them in everyday life. From the bark of this plant, a coarse fiber is made, from which a strong fabric, bags, fishing nets, and ropes are subsequently made. Various medicines are made from ash, which are used in the treatment of colds, dysentery, fever, asthma, heart, and they also relieve toothache and unpleasant sensations that occur after bites of mosquitoes, flies, and other insects. Young shoots are used instead of asparagus in boiled form. Salads are made from green leaves. Spices are made from dry ones. The pulp of the fruit tastes like ginger, so it is prepared from a drink that resembles lemonade. For this, first the fruit is dried, then ground into a powder and diluted in water. Baobab seeds are eaten both raw and fried, while the roasted grains, pre-crushed, create a drink that resembles coffee. Flour dust is used to make glue. After drying the hard shell of the fruit, they make glasses out of it, and smoke when burning the dried pulp drives away insects, primarily mosquitoes. Also, Africans actively use this plant in cosmetology. They use powder made from the fruits of this tree, wash their hair, make soap, and women paint their faces with red juice, which contains the roots of the plant. So dear subscribers and those who have not yet subscribed but are already ready for this decisive step, we have learned a lot about this giant, and let this knowledge not be useful to many in everyday life, and someone will be useful to you who knows where one of you will go tomorrow, and this particular friend will definitely be ready to use the baobab for its intended purpose. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe. Don't forget to like and share this video with your friends. It helps a lot to promote it. You are with the Planet Earth channel.